Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bound of Truth. This is Chris Lopez. It is Sunday, but not just any Sunday. It is Mother's Day. Hope all your moms are out there having a great day. Your kids treating you well. You treating your moms well as well as the spouses, and just really hope you're having a great day. It's beautiful today here in Washington, where I'm at. Got some lawn stuff done outside, fed my chickens, did some cleaning, text my mom, telling her Happy Mother's Day. Anywho, hope everybody's having a great day and so forth. So, before we begin today's show, what to let you know how you can reach us. As usual, questions, comments, concerns, want to be a guest on the show, bound to truth 34 at gmail.com is where you can reach me, email me. Also on Facebook, Bound to Truth, on X, Bound to Truth, YouTube, Bound to Truth, and now finally on Apple, Bound to Truth. So yes, finally got on the Apple podcast. Miracle. I was able to make it work. So yay for me. Anywho, I know I mentioned last weekend that I was looking maybe a week or two talk about Jason Sands, and I did a lot of digging on that. And there is just so much variety of information that it was just really hard for me to focus in a way and gather as much as I can to really pinpoint and do its justice on telling the story about the other whistleblower, Jason Sands. There's a lot of really heavy back and forth if he's legitimate, if he's not, regarding his experience with the being and so forth. So I think I'm just going to really let it sit. I did listen to some other podcasts and other interviews, and there's some more information now coming out that he's telling the truth. Again, I don't know. I really think I'm gonna wait on this one for a while until James Fox's documentary comes out this summer. Not sure when this summer. They're saying mid to late summer. So just hang tight on top of that, but feel free to research your information on Jason Sands. He's just the other one out of, I believe, 40 whistleblowers that came out. I believe he's also been in a skiff with Congress. Not too sure how much that's true or not. Again, that's again why I'm not really going to cover that, because it feels a little more speculation than anything else, not near the level I feel of David Grush's testimonial hearing. So, excuse me, I'm going to hold off on that. But today, what I want to talk about is a couple of things. So I know when I first did this podcast with my brother Jonathan, we talked a little bit about the Las Vegas, the Miami stuff. I'm not sure if I talked about the Las Vegas beings that supposedly landed last year. This is around the time that Grush came out with his interview on News Nation. It's basically regards to a Hispanic family that they called the police, and it was a very drastic 911 call regarding that there was beings that are about 7 to 8 feet tall that are in their backyard, and very traumatic for them. So what was interesting is the police came out and went to go show up, but they got kind of spooked too, because there was also this ball of a meteor, looks like a meteor light falling down, like a shooting meteor light, which is kind of funny and coincidental if that had any connection to it. Not too sure. It just could be just is what it is, just the odds of that happening. But even the police were kind of distraught. So I do have a couple of videos that I will share with you in regards to that. But before I begin that, we're also going to talk about today regarding the Peruvian face peelers. That was also something that came out last year. That one's we're going to be really mainly talking about today as well. That is, you're probably scratch your head. What is that? He's just, you'll, when I read the story and you'll hear it, come to your own conclusions. It is very fantastical and also scary too for the people that have dealt with this issue down in Peru, and you'll be the judge of that. So again, what I'll do is I'll start with the one with the News Nation 1 year later regarding Las Vegas incident that happened. This is a really good interview. And then I will also have another video regarding the footage that was on there that has been tested. Again, I'll let you hear that and kind of come to your conclusions. So here we go.
Vegas, not stay in Vegas. It circled the known universe. The frenzy grew when reports surfaced that unknown authorities had afterwards placed cameras around this family's home. The family was driven into hiding off the grid, out of sight, underground. But 10 months later, the mystery lives on, and looky-loos and alien hunters are still on the prowl. The family posted no trespassing signs, but break-ins have been reported frequently here as recently as last week at this home. Tonight, a News Nation exclusive, the teenager who made that 911 call is finally speaking publicly at length and laying out exactly what he saw that night and what has happened since. Our national correspondent Alex Capriello joins me with that live from Las Vegas tonight. So, Alex, it's really compelling with the advent of a year passing almost that they've had a chance to digest what it is they've been through. They have kept quiet. They are not looking for attention. And yet now you're getting information, especially from this 15-year-old or the 17-year-old, that's pretty alarming.
Yeah, and I've found out from speaking to Angel Kenmore that life just really has not been all that easy for the past year since they saw that 10-foot tall creature in their backyard right here behind me. For him, he says that he's plain and simple traumatized by it all. He says he can't sleep at night. He's become slightly paranoid. He cries at night, trying to make sense, heads or tails, of what exactly he saw that night, playing it back over and over in his head. You can imagine the torment that's going through in his head. But to this day, none of the family has a very good explanation about what exactly they saw that night. But to their credit, they've stayed pretty consistent about the facts and the details. I really grilled him about that, trying to get him to remember as much as he possibly could about that night. Here's a portion of our conversation. What do you remember about that night? What do you remember seeing?
Oh, start again for this. We were in the backyard fixing the truck, and then out of nowhere we just see a big light fall down and basically crash in the backyard. And moments after, like not so, like a couple seconds after, I saw the big giant creature in front of me. The alien, whatever you guys want to call it, the alien demon, whatever you guys want to call it.
What do you believe it is?
A demon.
A demon.
Yeah.
So maybe that's changed. That once you thought it was an alien, now you believe it was a demon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. Only God knows what it was. But I'm thinking it's like something bad. It's not a good thing.
Was it moving? Was it doing?
Yes, it was moving. You could see like he was breathing, like he was like pissed off, like he wanted to do something.
And he was looking at you and your brother?
He was looking at me. Yeah.
Did he say anything?
Mm-mm. I remember he was growling like a dog, like like he was growling.
When did it end?
As soon as I closed my eyes, I guess. I don't know. I think I was praying or something like that, and it just let me go. That's when I went inside, and I saw my dad. I mean, I saw it too.
It felt like it had a control of your body?
Oh yeah, I couldn't move. Yeah.
You were paralyzed at the sight of this thing.
Yeah, I couldn't move.
And you were looking at it for 30 or so seconds, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Yeah. That was pretty creepy.
A lot of people think that that's just hard to believe.
That, like I said again, they can think whatever they want.
What do you say to the people who believe that your family just made this whole thing up to try to get attention?
They can believe whatever they want. I'm not doing it for free. If I did it for fame, I would be on YouTube and stuff like that, doing more videos. But I don't care, guys. I just went on TikTok and YouTube, made my story. That's pretty much it. I made no money off this. I want people to know that I made no money off that. I don't need money. That's pretty much it. They can believe whatever they want.
I bet you hope it doesn't happen to anybody.
Oh, no. Hopefully not, no. I hope God, no. Really bad experience. Really traumatizing.
And Ashley, I don't know what your impression of him was, but when I was speaking to him personally, I was really struck by how confident and authentic he was about his memories of that night. There's a lot of people obviously out there in the world that would make up ghost stories in order to chase any sort of clout or fame. But to me, Angel came across as somebody who truly believed that he saw something that night in that backyard right here behind me.
Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much the sum up story of what happened to this 17-year-old kid and his family, basically. There is some video online. I'm gonna try to put the links on with this interview, and then the second interview that I'm gonna second video I will play regarding this was a video capturing this being, and it was basically reviewed to see if it was fake and so forth. And the person has a lot of vetted background on what his profession is, and I'll let him explain that in a moment. But yeah, you're probably maybe asking, well, why wasn't this on the bigger stage of the news and so forth? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe too fantastical, maybe too silly. Who knows? Maybe a conspiracy just to keep the things hidden. I do find it interesting where the teenager first, him and his family thought they were aliens. Now he's switching his mind to demonic. So that is interesting. Is it one or the other? Are they considered both? Was it those extra dimensional beings that happened the same way in Miami? And, because they were about the same height. And I said 7, 8 feet tall. I believe sorry, he said 10 feet. But that is something to really kind of think about. It's pretty interesting story, pretty interesting stuff. So I will play this next clip regarding the footage that was shown. And again, you can see on YouTube, and I'll try to put the link on. But here's a guy who, same news station, regarding reviewing the original footage, and then evidence expert puts his uh, comments and what his thoughts are regarding if this is a legitimate video or not. So here we go.
Went to fuzzy video on YouTube and then decide space aliens do or do not exist. And it's another thing entirely to subject those sightings to the same kind of scientific rigor that puts, say, killers in prison. Scott Roeder is that kind of skeptic. He is an evidence expert and crime scene reconstructionist with 33 years of experience and 1,500 cases to his credit. He's the founder of the Evidence Room, a group that assembles specialists in forensic animation, 3D modeling, and motion graphics. He took a close look at the video that was recorded by that family in Las Vegas, and he applied his technology to try to debunk it. Here he is on his YouTube channel, Crime Scene, discussing what he calls the entity in the family's backyard.
We can take a video and look at whether or not there's an artificial artifact added to it or not. And in this case, we can definitively say, to a degree of scientific certainty, that this entity, this thing in the video, is there in the physical reality in which the Kenmore family is also there. Like, this is so critical because you can clearly see through the slots in the fence that there is a leg motion moving from the right to the left side of the screen. And clearly it is behind there. So this isn't just like a head floating in space. This is a head of that is somehow that does not have full opacity, that the opacity of the head of the shadow is only at about 33% opacity versus a normal shadow, which would be at 100% opacity, or an object in the screen, which is at 100%. And this isn't anything that you did. It's just what you were able to determine, that this shadow being, or this being in the shadows, possibly creating its own shadow or smoky filter or cloaking technique, is not only cloaking itself from the people there, but cloaking itself from the camera itself, in that it's minimizing our ability to identify pixels inside of that shadow.
I'm joined now by UFO expert Ben Hansen. He's a former federal agent and now the host of UFO Witness.
So yeah, there's your expert talking about that. I will again try to put that link on there. But it's not hard to find if you type in Las Vegas evidence expert. You can definitely see the video, and it's quite interesting. Very big, because you could definitely see something blurry, and there's a shape but not clear. And if it is an interdimensional, extraterrestrial, or demon, whatever that is, it looks like some type of cloaking device that it's doing. We do see that with UFOs. People ask, well, where's the footage of more detailed and clear videos? And you know what? There was actually more videos out there have gotten better regards to that from public. Again, David Rush talking about more. And even Lou Elizondo, which I should do an episode on him, said there's even more sharp evidence regarding clear vehicle crafts that are better pictures, but some people believe that even these vehicles will try to fuzzy itself out, maybe because of a distortment field, maybe just to blend in. I have no idea, but the video is really an eye opener. So if I can't not able to successfully put that link on, please definitely look that up. Las Vegas giant creature evidence expert. Again, be the judge for yourself, hear it out, be open-minded, come to your own conclusion. Very interesting stuff. So that's the latest on the recent, after a year later, experience for the Hispanic family and their encounter with whatever it is. And so, but definitely interesting stuff. All right. So moving on to the Peru face peelers, or they call them Peru los pelacaras. That wasn't too bad. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. I made that first attempt without practice. Okay. So this was back almost a year ago in August of 2023. So I'm going to read this a bit from the Daily Mail to sum up what's going on and some other feedback. And I do have a couple of videos on it as well. So basically, August of 2023, terrified villagers in the rural Peruvian district have claimed they have come under attack by 7-foot tall aliens they have dubbed Los Peracaras, or the Face Peelers. Members of the Ikutu tribe from the San Antonio Native community have reported mysterious figures in dark-colored hoods attacking the villagers who live in the rural district of Alto Nanay, northeast of Lima, Peru. After one such attack, a 15-year-old girl had to be taken to a hospital. Now, before I continue on, I do have more information on that 15-year-old girl. That was an interesting story, which we'll dive a little more deeper into, but that was pretty terrifying for this young kid. According to the community leader, Hario Davila, the teenager narrowly escaped, but as a result of the struggle, they cut part of her neck. Now, according to local media, members of the community are conducting night patrols to protect women, children, and more vulnerable villagers, and have called on the authorities to send in the military. Some community members said that they can't sleep because they are in fear. Locals described the extraterrestrials as large heads with yellowish eyes and said the mysterious figures are immune to their hunting weapons. They claim that they attack them every night for nearly a month since July 11th. Now, of course, my first thought, maybe your all first thought is thinking, what is this, like Predator? You know, maybe I have no idea. Maybe there's a kernel of truth that the Predator is real. But something is terrifying for going on with these villagers, and so they're having a real experience. Anywho, to continue on, Latina Noticas, it's a Peruvian news outlet, quoted Davila as saying he had come face to face to one of the so-called aliens. And here's his quote here. We have met almost face to face. His face is hardly visible. I have seen his whole body floating at a height of 1 meter, he said, suggesting the being was hovering. The group have now requested a military presence from the authorities. However, it reportedly takes a 10-hour river trip to reach the community from Iquitos City. So more from I believe that he's the mayor, basically saying, hey, we need more support for our community. The children do not sleep and the mothers stay up all night. Davila said they appeared to be armored. I shot one of them twice and he wasn't injured. He rose and disappeared. We are very frightened about what's happening here in our community. He added their shoes are round shaped, which they use to float. Their heads are long. They wear masks and their eyes are yellowish. They are experts at escaping. Some villagers describe the aliens as being like Peracaras, strange beings from folklore that feast on human faces, fat, and organs. According to reports, the police reached out the remote area on board a speeder vessel and toured the village perimeter, including the area where a teenager was allegedly attacked. It is unclear if the authorities found anything to corroborate the villagers' claims and if the government intends to deploy military personnel to the area for a sustained period of time to protect the villagers from this mysterious threat. So that's a pretty big sum up of the story. I don't know if there's anything more happening going on there. If there is, it's becoming more, I would say, damage controlled. If there's more quietness in the media outlets, but something really terrifying happened. out there, and hopefully it's not happening anymore. And the reason they call them face peelers is supposedly people's faces were missing, that these supposedly entities were taking their faces off. They're big headed, yellow eyes, round shoes floating. Yeah, I've heard of different, more like the gray looking aliens and so forth, but this one's a little new to me. I mean, the big heads we heard about, but yeah, very tall beings that can fly. So here is some more information regarding the response. Let me see. Am I getting my notes lost here? Okay, so here's the reports. Here's a report from the Peru's National Prosecutor's Office. This is what they're saying, that what it is most likely, which again come to your conclusions, which I kind of find interesting. Peru's National Prosecutor's Office, which is carrying out an investigation of the alien attacks, has held these gold mafias responsible who were ejected partially from Colombia and Brazil by the militaries. Huh. I'll give my thoughts here in a minute. These jetpack flying gold cartels are now trying to instill fear by spreading an alien terror through their actions in Peru, as per the prosecutors. They claim that these cartels aim at keeping local people locked in their homes and away from the illegal gold pits of the cartels. Prosecutors said that the jetpacks were first used by these illegal mining cartels to explore prospects for gold deeper in the forest surrounding the Nanay River in Peru. In rural Alto Nanay, members of the small Iktu population are surrounded by dense forests where it is reported that gold is deposited like silt on the riverbeds along the tributaries of the Nanay River that flow into the Amazon. Okay. Jetpacks. I've seen the jetpacks we're creating that we have that I know so far in video on YouTube, even ones in the military. They make a lot of noise. What these villagers are saying, these things don't make a noise really at all. And they're hovering on a board-like device. The jetpacks I've seen are strapped to your back, strapped to your hands. I think even strapped to your feet. It's not easy to, it's not like an easy thing to do. So to either it's a mass panic hysteria and people are exaggerating the story of what they're seeing. I don't know. That's a possibility. But jetpack cartel miners, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can understand if, like, you want to scale villagers by sharing some cover goes to or play on their fears, but that's a lot of impressive technology just to really you know use to scare them to legend. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of babbling a little bit, but I just found that interesting that it's a bunch of cartel miners. So anywho, so there's that explanation from the prosecutor's office out in Peru. So now I'm going to continue, and actually I'll be playing a video here. It's going to be about almost 5 minutes. It's a Reddit video regarding the crucial witness of the Peru alien attack. This is a 15-year-old girl named Talia, and I'll pretty much read a subject about her after I play this video as well. It might sound repetitive, but it's definitely a good listen to here. So let me get that going here for you. All right, here we go.
Black armored bodysuit with the helmet, surfing up to her. And I say surfing because she went like this. So the guy was like surfing on one of these platforms, circular platforms. He surfed up to her, up this little hill, landed the platform next to her and grabbed her, seized her from behind. He put his hand over her mouth and he seized her. Then she saw another guy dressed identically on a circular platform coming up the hill. He landed in front of her and grabbed her legs. Then they lifted her off and they floated her behind this chicken coop. And to make a long story short, they proceeded to, they mixed the solution in their hands and sucked up this solution in a nasal syringe and shot it up her nose. This was to incapacitate her. So whatever this solution was, it was to make her docile so that they could do what they were about to do, which is they took some cream, a different cream from a larger tube and proceeded to smear it on her face. She said her face instantly went numb, and then they took out this little device, which Doug and I think is a laser scalpel. It's about this big, maybe 5 inches, with a little blade, but we think it's a laser scalpel based on the descriptions. And they began to cut her face under here, under her neck. They were going to cut her face off. Now, Talia says that she heard these individuals speak. She describes one of them as, she refers to one of them as the gringo. And she said the gringo, now she never saw the face, but she says the gringo was taller than me. The other one she calls the Peruvian, or I call the Peruvian because for reasons that will become apparent. The Peruvian was about my height, but he was smaller than what the guy she calls the gringo, okay? Now, the reason why she calls him the gringo and I'm calling the other one the Peruvian, and the gringo is the one who initially floated up the hill and grabbed her from behind, is because she heard them speaking. The gringo spoke broken Spanish, okay, with an accent. The other guy spoke regular Spanish, like a Peruvian, she said. Okay, so that's why we refer to them as the gringo and the Peruvian. So as they're smearing this cream on her face, she heard the Peruvian say to the gringo, who was smearing it on her face from behind, the Peruvian guy says, we're assuming, by the way, that these are people, says, be careful, don't put too much on her face, you're going to ruin the flesh. And then she later explained to me, because I had a subsequent conversation with her, she later explained to me that what she thinks they meant was, it was something about how if they apply too much of this cream, it's going to cause this flesh to stick to the skin when they attempt to cut the skin off, when they go to cut the face off. Something to that effect. That's what she told me. And so they applied this cream to her face. They proceed to cut her face, but she starts to struggle. And she starts to lift up the mask, the helmet of the guy behind her, because he's got her from behind and she's starting to lift up his helmet. And he starts to freak out a little bit because he does not want her to see his face, right? And so during this altercation, they drop her. And so his hand comes off her mouth and she's able to scream. She screams at the top of her lungs. Now, you have to understand that the village is already in a state of vigilance. This was not the first incursion. The first incursion happened earlier, so they already knew that somebody's trying to get into the village for whatever reason. So all of the villagers are in a heightened state of vigilance at this point and are sitting on their porches with their guns and flashlights. So when Talia screams, they're ready. They come running. The neighbors come running and her brother comes running and they got their flashlights. And I talked to her father and some of the neighbors, and when they got to the scene, and they got there in a matter of seconds, when they got to the scene, this is what they said they saw. They saw Talia laying on the ground. Her face is bloody from the laceration. She's laying on the ground, and her assailants are floating on these platforms. And Talia says that after she screamed, the Peruvian assailant yelled out to the gringo, let's go, in Spanish, let's go. And the gringo said, no, we can't just leave her here. And he proceeded to grab her by the hair and drag her up the hill.
Okay, so that's the video part regarding Talia's experience, and it is interesting. Regards to the comment that I mentioned about cartel, I don't believe it's some cartel jetpacks. Obviously, the girl's experience described here is not, and the villagers saying they were on jetpacks or on these hoverboards. And I have some few thoughts that I'll kind of conclude at the end with that as well, in regards to what I think it could also be multiple different thoughts on that, who it could be, if it is extraterrestrial or not, or whatever nefarious means that are. So I'll read more, a little bit additional to the story. It might sound again repetitive, but I like to be as detailed as possible regarding Talia's experience, this poor 15-year-old girl that happened with what happened with these two assailants. So basically, 15-year-old girl named Talia, who recently told documentarians how she was chased and attacked by two masked figures clad in black body armor. My eye felt bad. It felt cloudy. My face felt like it was swelling, she said, adding that she couldn't feel her face. The attackers then spread the same substance across her face, she said. The alien connection may have been from the attempted kidnappers' green eyes and the jetpacks that they were wearing, which could be activated by pressing a button on their boots. And quoting a little more from Talia, my eye felt bad. It felt cloudy. My face like it was swelling. I couldn't feel my face. Talia said in her interview, according to the 50-year-old girl, she went back to pick tangerine. So how did go? This is going basically back to how this all began a little bit. According to her, she went back to pick some tangerines, but when she turned, a very tall man was standing in front of her. When I tried to run, she said, he grabbed me from the back hair, and he turned me around and covered my mouth, she said. The attempted kidnapping, which occurred on July 29th of this year, well, actually 2023 of last year, was witnessed by neighbors and Talia's family. The 15-year-old stated that the body armor and the mask was made of a hard material with two straps in the back. And they wore black metal boots that fit into a circular wheel-like platform. Again, no jetpacks. This is a platform that helped them fly. Their eyes were a golden green color, Talia said. As they were dragging away, I was able to move with more strength, Talia said. They dropped me and I fell to the ground, she added. So, a little more detail. Again, I know it sounds a little repetitive, but I wanted to make sure that there was nothing else additional missing when it came to the height of the beings, when it came to the the eye color, and the platforms or work jetpacks. Again, the prosecutors saying we're jetpacks. There's, they're saying they're platforms that they can fly, which that touch the button on their boot. Put your imagination of what that is. I do not know. Now, here is one last video in addition to that. So basically, this is not the first time this has happened in uh, the story has happened. There was actually a story back in 2002 in India, which are called the face scratchers, which I find interesting. So this is all what 21 years ago, 21 years, well, 22 years ago now, but this is when it started in 2023, so 21 years before, and they had the same experience of the same stuff going on. So I'll play a video here regards to that. It's a little bit long. I'm going to try to cut it as much as possible. It's about 7 minutes and 40 seconds, so hang with me, but I think it's an interesting listen to so you can tell how similar what happened in India back in 2002 to what happened to 2023 of last year and how the stories are pretty much very identical. So I'm going to put this video up here and I'm going to play it. So this video is called Aliens Attack India, Kill 7 People. Here we go.
Hey guys, we have all seen movies where aliens arrive in UFOs and attack human beings with laser beams. But how would you react if such an incident happened in real life? Believe it or not, what I just said happened 12 years ago in a group of villages near Lucknow, India. Here is the newspaper article published in Victoria Advocate on August 13th, 2002. It reads, UFOs are attacking and causing unrest in India. Above this caption, you can see a picture of a man who has multiple injuries to his face. First of all, did such an incredible event really happen, or was it fabricated by a newspaper to get more circulation? This is an authentic piece of news because it was published in hundreds of newspapers around the world and was even broadcasted on the local radio station. So here's the story. Around the end of July 2002, villagers started to see strange flying objects swarming the sky. Two kinds of UFOs were reported. One was a disc-shaped or a ball-like object with flashing lights which moved rapidly. The other was an insect-shaped craft that was much larger and moved extremely slowly. While the smaller UFO was seen only around Lucknow area, the bug-shaped craft was so large that people who lived 50 miles away from Lucknow could also see it directly above them. UFO experts say that the large cricket-shaped craft was possibly the mothership, while the smaller disc-shaped UFOs were deployed from it. After a few days of inactivity, things escalated and the UFOs started attacking people. 7 people died and many of them suffered burn injuries. So the UFOs earned the nickname Munochwa, which means face burner. Doctors confirmed that these injuries were electrical burns caused by electricity passing through the body. For example, Ramji Paul, a middle aged man, was attacked with a laser like beam and his stomach was ripped open. He died 2 days later. A similar attack on a 53-year-old woman resulted in blackened forearms. Another alarming fact is that within a period of 1 week, more than 20 people went missing within a radius of 10 miles, never to be seen again. Remember, this was not just a simple rumor that went around quietly among the villagers. It was so serious that 10,000 people gathered in front of the police station demanding action against these attacking aliens. Predictably, the police completely brushed off the possibility of extraterrestrials and dispersed the crowd. Is this solid proof that alien UFOs attacked these villagers? So far, we have seen multiple eyewitness accounts and people with bodily injuries, but authorities refuse to accept these as concrete evidences of extraterrestrial attack until actual video footage emerged showing these UFOs. And these UFOs were captured on film not just once, but on 6 different cameras. Were these footages created by pranksters? No, the first person to catch an alien craft on camera was, in fact, a district judge. He is the only person who captured the large insect-shaped UFO hovering over a field. 4 days later, the smaller disc-shaped UFOs were also captured on 5 different cameras, confirming that these were in fact flying objects that moved over villages during nighttime, while the affected villagers created their own protection squad that roamed around the village after dark to prevent future alien attacks. These quote unquote educated government officials were trying to come up with alternate theories. Let's explore some of the top explanations and see if they hold water. Some people claim that this was caused by bugs that look like crickets. To support this theory, they even found a new species of cricket in the area and named it Munochwa. But experts have confirmed that these crickets are completely harmless and are incapable of injuring human beings, and they do not emit light. Also, have you ever seen a bug that can cut a man's stomach open? Some experts have claimed that the spherical objects that people saw were actually instances of ball lightning. This does not explain the bug-shaped craft, and also ball lightning is a rare phenomenon.
Okay, so that went a little bit longer. I decided to cut that a bit short. So interesting stuff. Very similar. There's a lot more detail to the story in regards to India back in 2002. Not just these face scratchers, but multiple crafts witnesses. Again, supposedly photo evidence of that happening, especially from a judge. I do think it's funny that they're blaming bugs like these cricket type of whatever mantis looking things, are causing these deaths, but you can't say a bug's going to slice somebody's body, organ, stomach, whatever you call it, in one swoop. So and that's got to be one hell of a bug, a really big bug. And yeah, if that, and you know what, maybe it is a big bug. We just don't know. It's all in, it's India. We don't, we could exist, they say Bigfoot exists. They say, a bunch of things exist. Who knows? Maybe there's a giant bug that exists, right? Who knows? But the difference is that instead of these, same experiences regarding the face peelers in Peru and then the face scratchers in India, um, the description of the beings are completely different. One looks more like like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. That's what I meant to say, or like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, if that's the best image, compared to these were more of a insectoid type of entity. Now, are they related? Could it be both? Could it be something that's projected from these same entities, just different, like camouflage? Like one looks like the Green Goblin approved, the other one looks like a giant cricket centipede, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but it is interesting. This happened back in 2002. Of course, no one's heard about the story. I barely heard about the story when I ran across it on Reddit, and I thought this was fascinating. I wanted to tie that in there because this is not the first time this has happened, and there could have been more incidences that I might discover that are very similar to what happened in Peru and also here in India. So love to hear your thoughts on that and so forth. Um, so basically, to wrap this up, little thoughts, some questions for you. Do you believe the villagers in Peru were attacked? If so, was it an alien or minor slash government, like our government, could have been involved, spread disinformation? That's a possibility. I don't know. We have no idea. There's a lot of talks about government having supposedly alien tech, high tech, to cause disinformation that is, create more of that control and fear mongering. Who knows? I don't know. If it was a government, do you believe it could be a psyop to create disinformation for various means? And I think that's an honest question. I mean, psyops are nothing new within any government, not just ours, but in any government. If you create fear, people are willing to give up their freedom. Obviously, we look at wars, try to learn lessons of wars. And when you try to take people's freedom away, people fight back, right? Look at the Revolutionary War. Look at other revolutions that happen. I mean, you could look at France. You could look in Russia. A lot of that happened. People's freedoms were getting forced and taken away, and people revolted back. But again, is this a way where, I'm not saying it's not alien, it could be alien tech. It could be something that is so beyond our years that we have no idea, that it could be a slap just to create more fear so people can give up their freedoms because of fear. They want to, make them depend on comfort and stability. I don't know. It's an interesting theory. I don't think it's out there. The stories are fantastical, right? But just the slap itself, it's a possibility. I mean, you look at MK, what is it? Not MK, is it MK Ultra? Yeah, MK Ultra, back CIA, you know, testing, LSD on each other just to see what it does to the mind. Now, obviously, one person got killed in the CIA. Family got paid quite a bit of money, get their mouth shut. Research that one. That's interesting. But again, you know, I know this is out of the norm. A lot of my podcasts are out of the norm. And it's definitely not the narrative that we always typically hear, right? But I really encourage you to research this information. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Definitely come back to me. Definitely, if there's other things you find that are similar, more in the past or something more recent, I would love to hear that. You can reach me again, send that stuff to me, boundtotruth34@gmail.com. You can message me, Bound to Truth on Facebook. Also on YouTube, you can listen on X. We're on X, and also now on Apple Podcasts. But yeah, everybody, definitely give me your thoughts on this one. I hope you enjoyed this one. this episode. It was quite an interesting story. I know I sat on this one for a couple months, but I thought this is a good time to pull it out. Again, like I said, especially with the whole Jason Sands thing, really wanted to get this one out there because I don't think a lot of people know about what happened last year in Peru, and I thought this would be a good one to get out for everybody. So, anywho, might be taking a break again this weekend. Got some family going to be visiting in a couple weeks, and want to get the house all prepared. So I'll try to get an episode out, maybe not. We'll see. So just keep on subscribing. Please do subscribe. Tell other people. Helps people give a voice, a platform for them. Again, this platform is yours. Anywho, have a great day. Have a great Mother's Day, and look at talking to you guys soon. Thank you again for listening. Be blessed.